is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This program does not reflect the views and opinions of the New Orleans Talk Network. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. We are in the studios of the New Orleans Talk Network. We come your way every Monday morning to knock down the wall that may stand in your way. Remember, we and you are the church. And we should knock down every barrier that's standing our way. God give us the power, give us the ability, only we do it. We always say, if you get knocked down, it's all depending on how you get back up. And I tell everyone all the time, every day is a great day. It's all depending on what you make out of it. So we certainly hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July. Many of y'all had a long weekend. And I know you had some great food. I know many of them put on a few pounds, but thank God we are here today. And we thank you for watching, and we thank you for listening. And we always tell you that we love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. But my friends and loved ones, today is a great day, and we have a studio guest. I'm your host, Charles Stewart, and the co-host is Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams. If you like to get in on the comment section, you can dial. I know you done download your app because you wouldn't be watching and listening to us, but you can download your app, www. New Orleans Talk Network. We also YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And to our listening audience, viewing audience, we'd like to just let you know it's important that you put in your mind you need to go vote. A moment in history. In 1855, had a reverend by the name of Reverend George Lee. He registered to vote. And that Sunday he went to church and he told his congregation that he had registered to vote. He encouraged them also to vote. And he was killed the next day. So those things happened those days, but you're living now in 2019, so it's no excuse not to vote. So we encourage everyone to go, if you haven't registered yet, go do it. It's very important you remember your vote do count. Saying that to say this, Dr. Williams is on the computer, but we have in the studio with us our very special guest today. We're going to talk a little politics today. And our special guest is a great person that I've been knowing longer than he have known me. I've been knowing his father for so long. His father is one of the great boxing promoters that this city had for years. I know many of y'all can remember going to the Municipal Auditorium.
That's right.
many great fight. I know y'all remember the great Champ Clark. It was nothing like to hear his golden voice says it was fight time.
Rolling in New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
That's it.
But he is our special guest today. His name is Deano Bonano, and we so happy to have him in the studio. And he running for councilman in District 2. And I know that he is going to do a great job when he wins. And I know that he is a great man, a great family man, and a great guy. Saying that, Dr. William, in open comment.
Let us just pray for everybody that needs to go out and vote, and pray that the parents will talk to their kids, their younger kids, to enhance them that voting is important. Always remember that failure to exercise your rights is like you're in stagnant water. If you're in stagnant water, you can't move, you can't do nothing. So you got to be assured that the people that you're putting in, you need to get out and try to communicate with them and talk with them so that they can tell you their vision for the parish. And with that information, you'll be able to make a educated, I'm going to put it that way, educated vote to put the right people in the right place so that you can get things done within the parish.
Saying that we'd like to tell our special guest, we'd like for him to introduce himself to the listening, viewing audience, just who you are. And you can, I tell any guest when they come here, Church Without Walls, pretending you go to Burger King, they say it happen your way. Mm-hmm. You can have it your way. You don't have to hold back nothing. Yes, just have it your way. But saying that you can introduce yourself to the viewing and listening audience.
Well, first of all, Mr. Stewart, Reverend Williams, thank y'all for having me here today. Before I talk about myself, I want to touch on what you talked about, the voting problem. I like to break down statistics and look at demographics. So 4 years ago, in our last major election for governor, your parish president, your sheriff, everybody. First of all, we only had parish-wide about a 35% turnout. That's horrible. But when you really look at it, 80% of the people who voted in that election, 80% were 45 years and older. When you look at the people 18 to 29 years old who were registered to vote, they only had 947 chronic voters in that age group. 947, that's horrible. It's horrible. Terrible. We got to do something to encourage our younger people to get engaged in the community. We can only make a difference if you vote and you're there participating. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm Deano Bonano. I'm a lifelong resident of Jefferson Parish. I've gone to school here. When I left here, high school, I went to college at LSU. I graduated in December of 1987 and went to work for Jefferson Parish right out of college. And for 31 years, it's the only place I've worked full-time in my life. And I've had different positions. I started as a contract administrator. Then I was promoted to department head. And in 1995, I became then parish president Tim Coulon promoted me to deputy chief administrative officer. But I've always believed that if you're successful in life, you need to give back to your community. So I volunteered a lot of my time being a volunteer firefighter and a reserve police officer. Yeah, people think I'm crazy because I ran into burning buildings for free and I faced down criminals for free. But you have to protect your community. You have to give back. Because of all my training and experience in that field, in 2005, following Hurricane Katrina, I was asked to create the parish's first Homeland Security Chief Department, which I did. And following Katrina, I was responsible for rebuilding this parish, working with FEMA on the billions of dollars, recovery dollars to rebuild the parish, and restructuring the parish emergency response system so that it would perform better in the future. All levels of government during Katrina, federal, state, and local, failed. We weren't prepared for Katrina. But because of our work following Hurricane Katrina, I was awarded the Jefferson Parish Employee of the Year Award in 2007 for my work following Katrina. I also served a term as the superintendent of the East Bank Fire Department during that same tenure. I worked on Hurricanes Gustav and Ike, and I was the instant commander for the BP oil spill. I actually lived in Grand Isle for 3 months fighting the oil spill and protecting this parish. In 2010, I went to work for the council chairman, and I worked there until April this year where I retired to run for office. I feel it's important, again, if you're successful in life, to give back to your community, and I'm prepared to do that, and that's why I'm stepping up to run for this office. We need experienced, knowledgeable leadership to move this parish forward. We're kind of people think everything's okay, but if you look at the numbers in Jefferson Parish, we're kind of at a tipping point. We're at a critical stage in our parish. First of all, we have far fewer children today in this parish than we did 30 years ago. But we have many, many more senior citizens than we did 30 years ago. And our infrastructure is aging. And I'm not picking on the city of New Orleans, but I want to use them as an example. So with your aging streets, your aging sewer system, your drainage system, your water system, if you don't put a plan in place, a long-term plan to maintain your infrastructure, you wake up one day and you look around like the city of New Orleans, where their streets are deplorable, their drainage doesn't work, their water's leaking all over the place. Well, it didn't get that way overnight. They failed to plan to replace their infrastructure in a timely manner. And that's kind of where we're at now in Jefferson Parish. Our streets are 60, 70 years old in many places, and so is our infrastructure. So one of my main goals is, without raising taxes, is to be able to go back and identify monies that we can use to fix our parish up, to improve our infrastructure so we don't ever face that problem. People don't realize that in Jefferson, we're far different than any other governments. 80% of our funds, our taxes, are dedicated for a specific purpose. You have a tax for garbage, you got a tax for libraries, you got a tax for recreation. And you can't move those monies around, even if you got a surplus, to use it on another purpose, because the voters dedicated those monies for that purpose. So my plan was, if you go back and look at, we have surplus funds in those other accounts, and go to the voters of Jefferson Parish and say, what do you want to see as your priorities? If drainage is your priority, let's move money from this one where it's got too much money by voted people to this account for drainage without raising taxes. So it's all about rebuilding our infrastructure and making this place a better place to live for our kids. I have 3 young sons and a wife. My sons are all at the age where they're graduating college and they're looking at buying a home. And my biggest fear is, they tell me, Dad, well, if I move across the lake, or if I move to St. Charles Parish, I can get a better house and the streets are newer and all that. I don't want any of our children to have to think that they got to move out of this parish to get a better quality of life. And that's what I'm going to be all about. No candidate in this race will have the knowledge and experience that I have after 31 years to be able to, on day one, fix problems. I have this saying that after 31 years, you have a problem and you call me, I not only know what department to go to fix your problem, but I know the name of the person that's going to fix your problem. That's the kind of relationships I have. So that's what I'm offering to the people of Jefferson Parish, is to put all that knowledge and experience to work for you, to improve our economy, to improve our infrastructure, and to do things like working with Sheriff Lopinto and local law enforcement to put things in place that the parish can do to prevent crime. There's a lot parish government can do to prevent crime. You don't have to be a policeman. We can give the sheriff and local law enforcement the tools they need to prevent crime. And on the crime, one last note that goes hand in hand with quality of life. I have found, I'm also a reserve police officer, I found over my career that blighted homes, dilapidated homes, go hand in hand with crime.
Yeah.
That where you have blight, high weeds, overgrown grass, houses that are falling apart, abandoned houses, you provide the criminal element with a place with which to operate their criminal organization. So as a councilman, my commitment to all the people in District 2 would be, you notify me of a problem in your neighborhood with blighted homes, and I'm going to address it immediately, because you've got to do that in order to prevent crime. Many of these homes are owned by people that don't even live in Jefferson Parish. I call them absentee landlords. They're making money off of our backs. They're bringing down your property values and bringing crime to your neighborhoods while they live somewhere else and making money off of their property. And I plan on putting a stop to that by being aggressive with enforcement on those issues. Again, thank you for having me here today. I look forward to all the talks we can have today about things that are going on in Jefferson Parish.
One thing that you had is a big priority to myself, and that you just touched on about our youth coming up, them having to want to stay home and create opportunity and job for them. And a lot of candidates that I listen to do not focus on that. They seem to have a social agenda. They don't have a business agenda. And I like that part that you opened the statement that you addressed some of my biggest concern. I guess top number one was about our young kids. I know anyone don't want their kids to move away. I know I'm a grown man. I remember years ago, my son told me he was moving to Florida. I cried. I was ashamed
I bet you did.
to cry in front of my son, but I didn't realize. Actually, when he put the last street of furniture on that truck and he was leaving, I realized my son really gonna be 7-8 hours away from me, and I support anybody, anyone that is running that address two things of priority that I see that you just said I love is that create job and opportunities for our young kids and also taking care of our senior citizens.
Absolutely. That's going to be a focus. So District 2 is uniquely situated. A vast majority of the vacant land that's available for development exists in District 2 on the West Bank. Now that we got this Huey P. Long Bridge expansion done, there's no more hindrance for commercial traffic to get to the West Bank of Jefferson Parish.
Right.
Specifically the 9 Mile Point, Bridge City, Avondale area, where there's room for growth. My program would be, listen, we need to provide incentives for manufacturing companies, distribution companies like Amazon, et cetera, to want to come to Jefferson Parish. And other states are successful in doing that by providing those companies with incentives to come here. So we can have a win-win situation by providing them with a tax incentive to come here for a certain period of time to build their business here on our vacant land, and then while we're providing opportunities for jobs and job growth for our young people. And that's where we need to be aggressive. That's where we need to focus on our economy. We have the tools necessary to do it. It just takes a leader who's willing to step out there and be willing to accept criticism to do it. Because let's face it, in a democracy, you can't do anything without somebody being upset with you. That's just the nature of the beast. But you have to do what's best for the whole and not just a few individual special interest groups. And that's where I promised the people of District 2 that I will do that. I'm not scared to challenge people to do what's best. And I've done that in my whole career. I'm always going to step forward and do what's best for this community.
We're going to have to take our first break. And after we take the break, we're going to get into our guest. It's got a lot of priority on District 2. And the people that live in District 2, we asked you to call in because I talked to a few people that live in District 2 this morning, and that's who he's gonna be your representative. So you need to ask him questions not on. Wait and say I would, I wish I would, or should. You can ask him now. And any question that you want to ask him, he's in the studio today to take your question. You want to know what's gonna happen in Shrewsbury, any other area, Morel Road, I think from 4th Street going back to the river, and it's to go all the way to Harvest. So any question you need to ask while you have a chance, do it now. But we're going to take our first break, and you are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
We are back. You are listening. You are watching Church Without Walls. Reverend Dr. Anson Williams and Charles Stewart. We are your hosts. Our special studio guest today is a gentleman that's running for Councilman District 2 in Jefferson Parish. His name is Deano Bonano. I know many of y'all know that name. If you know anything about boxing, you know who he is. But anyway, he's a great guy. He's a great man. And he's here today to talk to you about the problem in Jefferson Parish and his ideas for the future. And before, when we went up there, Dr. Williams, you had something that you...
Doc, when we look at your vision for the community and what's going on in the parish right now, what's your plan for bringing unity together among the individuals who are leaders in the parish?
And that's a very good question. It is a concern of mine. So in the last 8 years, we have 5 districts, council districts in this parish. And we've kind of treated the parish like it's 5 little separate kingdoms. And that costs the taxpayers a lot of money by dividing things up 3 or 4 ways instead of just doing it one way as a whole. I've always been known as a leader who brings people together, who puts his titles aside, puts his hat, checks his hat at the door, and says, look, I'm an ordinary man. We're all ordinary people. Let's sit down at the table and work these problems out. Before we get out there and fight about it, not everybody gets everything they want. Nobody gets everything they want. When you compromise, everybody gives up a little, but the people as a whole benefit when you compromise. So that's my goal, is to work with my future colleagues on the council to build consensus and compromise on issues instead of fighting about them every day and try to separate things. I want to bring people together and not divide them. Like I told y'all before we started, I'm not one into titles. I put my pants on one leg at a time like everybody every day. I'm an ordinary person, and that's the way I approach everything in life. This election is not about me. It's about our future, my children's future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future. It's about creating a parish that people want to live in, that they want to stay here and work in and raise their family in, as we all have. And so you have to bring people together and work with them in order to accomplish that, not create division and fights.
Everybody make promises around elections time, and a lot of those promises are never kept. What would be your vision to try and manifest the promise that you will make, or help others in the parish to bring their manifestation to the table?
Well, I will never make a promise that I don't intend to keep. So what's good about my position I'm currently in, after 31 years, I retired to run for office. So I'm not beholden to anyone. I don't owe anyone anything. I'm not running for this office for me as a self-serving purpose. I'm running for it for the community. I've always been someone who gave back to their community. I was a Cub Scout master at my children's school, a volunteer coach for football, basketball, baseball at the playgrounds, a volunteer firefighter, reserve police officer. I believe in doing what's right. So when I tell you I'm going to do something, my reputation is that I do it. I always carry it out. Now, I would sit here and tell you this, that if you're looking for somebody to be a rubber stamp and tell you what you want to hear, you're talking to the wrong person. I'm never going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think is right, but I listen. I always listen first. The mark of a good leader is someone who can take into consideration all the information that's available to them and make a decision what's best for the whole. And that's what I do. I listen first. I take into consideration all the aspects, both sides, before I make a decision. But I do make a decision. But if I think you're wrong, I will tell you I think you're wrong and we disagree. but we will do it in a manner in which everybody is respected and we continue to work together and move forward in the future.
I like what you said about the fact that you can agree to disagree.
That's it.
You know, you can talk with different people about different things, but once the facts are on the table, the leaders in Jefferson Parish should take all of those facts into consideration and make the best decision that's you know, for all, and you know, as a unit. When we talk about how the district are divided, it's like it's a political thing. You know, everybody is more in tune to what I can do politically, what I can do for the parish as a whole. So I think that is one of the things that individuals are looking for as far as the leaders who are sitting at the head to make justifiable decisions that will, affect the whole community as a whole.
It's people, not politics.
Right. That's exactly right. We talk about monies in the parish for different things like streets and, we pay a lot of money for garbage collection and different other things. Do you have visions now or see areas that you may be able to find monies to utilize in these areas of your concern?
Yes, so one of the advantages of having been in parish government for 31 years is I have intimate knowledge of the budget. From day one, I know where all the money is. So there's two things you have to understand. First of all, the finance department requires every parish budget, every parish department to maintain a 15% savings account. 15%. Well, I know I don't pay taxes to have a fat savings account, and I don't think you do either. I pay taxes for services. There's no law that says you have to have 15%. They like the 15% because at the end of the year, they get a governmental accounting award. They get this gold standard. Well, that's fine and dandy, but that's a piece of paper hanging on the wall. I want to see somebody's streets fixed. I want to see somebody's sewer fixed, not have a savings account. The second thing is, as I've spoken to earlier, we're unique in Jefferson. You vote to dedicate taxes for a specific purpose. So you talked about garbage. You have a millage, a property tax millage you pay to maintain the landfill and to run our garbage services. Same thing for libraries, sewage, water, drainage, recreation, juvenile services, transportation. All those are dedicated revenues. So as a council, when you sit down at the budget process and you say, listen, we would really like to spend more money this year in streets than we do in libraries, we don't have that freedom because it's locked in by a vote of the people. My goal would be proposed to go back and say, listen, we need to start being focused on priorities. And by priorities, I mean being able to go back to the voters and say, listen, do you want streets more this year or do you want drainage? So if elected, one of my immediate goals would be to work with my colleagues on the council to immediately call for what I call a priorities convention. East Bank, West Bank, in the cities. I want to bring the business groups, the civic associations, the faith groups, the garden clubs, individual citizens, anyone who's interested about the future of this parish, and call for a priorities convention where we're going to lay out for you what the parish's plans are for the next 4 years. But I want to hear from you, the citizen, what your priorities are. I think the citizens and the voters should be telling us what the priorities are, not the elected officials. After the conventions are all over, you compile all that data, and you build a 4-year and an 8-year plan. When's the last time you've heard of a parish government having a plan, a 4-year plan or 8-year plan? It hasn't happened.
Could we take a call? We have a call on line 1. Line 1.
Hello, good morning, Deacon Charles and Reverend Williams.
Good morning.
I want to thank your guest for coming in this morning, Mr. Deano Bonano.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I said your name right, huh?
No, Bonano.
Okay, all right. Listen, I'm a citizen of...
Some people have a difficult time pronouncing my name. It's Italian, so it isn't actually spelled correct. When my family immigrated here from Italy, the immigration officer didn't spell it right, but that's okay.
Your name rhymes, first and last name, it kind of rhymes, very unique name, to say the least. Listen, first of all, I want to thank you for all of the great service that you've done for Jefferson Parish in the past, and we're looking forward to a bright future here in Jefferson Parish, and I'm excited about your campaign, and I know that if you're elected as a councilman of this district, we have another great leader being added to a great parish to lead us into the future. I had a few questions for you, if I can ask you a couple of questions. And
Please.
is it okay if you had to do one at a time?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Your district has a lot of development available for the parish for people to benefit off of the development projects that can possibly come into your district. I noticed that when I drive down 4th Street in Marrero, that there's an abandoned building that's been there practically since I was a little boy. And I was always curious to know what that building was and why it wasn't developed, and if it can be developed into something for the community to bring in businesses and, bring in strip plazas and possibly build up in that area over there. So can you talk to us about that particular building? I don't know the name of it. Do you know the building I'm talking about?
I think it's the old John's Manville or the Celotex plant. My understanding of the history of that building is they used to make asbestos roofing tiles there. And that there's a huge level of contamination with asbestos both in the ground and in the building. And that has hindered redevelopment of that site because whoever buys it has to pay to clean all that mess up. So I don't think anyone's willing to foot the bill. Now, it takes leadership to take on a project like that because it's not an easy project. But I think we could step out and try to find some federal grants. They used to have a grant called the Brownsfield Project, where the federal government paid local governments and the owners of properties to do enough cleanup to make the property usable again and put it back into commerce. So that would be my vision, is to stimulate redevelopment by doing things like that. But it takes someone who wants to go through the effort and do the work to do that and be criticized by people who don't want you to disturb the site. So I'm willing to be that leader. And I'm willing to step forward and take on those projects. That's where experience and knowledge comes into play. You have to know about these grant processes in order to be able to reach out and take advantage of them. And the other thing I want to talk about is Avondale. Avondale's now got a new owner, and they're looking at doing cargo there, similar to New Orleans. Unfortunately, the big ships can't get under the bridge, so they're going to offload cargo directly from the big freighters onto barges and bring containers to Avondale and unload them there. And a lot of that's going to be bulk material. So my goal would be to find a manufacturer, someone who's going to take advantage of the plastics or the rubber or the raw metal that's coming in from other countries and manufacture a product here in Jefferson Parish, thereby creating jobs and stimulating our economy. And I'm willing to step up and create tax incentives for that company to come here, manufacturer to come here and marry with the Avondale site to build a manufacturing plant on some of that available land around there. But you got to be willing to work with those people and say, look, I'll give you a break on your property taxes for 10 years. It's called a TIF, tax incremental funding, in order for you to promise to build this building and create so many jobs here in Jefferson Parish. And that's the kind of leadership we need.
I really appreciate you for answering that question the way you answered it and explaining it to me in a way that I can understand it, because it makes a lot of sense the way you explain what the situation with that facility is and what's going on with Avondale Shipyard, with a lot of people being put out of work and a lot of families, pretty much, raise their families. A lot of men and women raise their families from that site over there in Avondale. I really appreciate you. I have one more question that I want to ask you. If elected council of District 2 in Jefferson Parish, what is your plan to build chemistry within our council chamber? Because, it just feels like, there's not a lot of, camaraderie between the men in those seats. And what is your plan with working with the parish president, whatever parish president we have in after October? What would be your plan with working with the parish president and a council together so that we can move forward together?
Well, as I said earlier, you got to set aside your own personal agenda. Take your hat off and hang it at the door. You don't have a title. You got to be an ordinary person. Sit down at the table with those people and compromise. Determine what's best for the whole. Leadership's not a popularity contest. I tell people that all the time. It's about doing what's best, making a decision what's best for a whole. So you have to sit down with all your council members and the parish president and reach an agreement with them. And oftentimes agree to disagree. And you know what? Because you agree to disagree don't mean you have to hate each other. You should go break bread with those people afterwards and say, listen, I understand we have a difference of opinion. And listen, we reached the compromise. I didn't get everything I wanted. You didn't get everything you wanted. But the people as a whole benefit. It's got that type of attitude that you have to have in government in order to be successful?
Thank you for answering that question for me. I'm very excited about the future in Jefferson Parish, and I'm very excited about our communities here in Jefferson Parish with the great leaders that we have in these elections that's coming up. And I'm just interested to see how it all plays out. Thank you for coming to the New Orleans Talk Network, to have taken out the time of your busy schedule to come and talk with us about the future of Jefferson Parish.
Thank you for having me today.
Okay, thank you so much, caller. Want to say that the future in Jefferson Parish, and I think we had a conversation up there about the people that the population of Jefferson Parish, it had fallen off. It had fallen off so much. And what are your plans to get with other councilmen to get people excited about Jefferson Parish? Because it seems like to me that I don't want to put blame on no one councilman, on nobody, but Jefferson Parish needs to show themselves a little bit more friendly. And I might want to add a little more, a lot of more
Customer friendly
to people.
Absolutely.
To want to live in Jefferson Parish. And Jefferson Parish certainly is a beautiful parish. But I think that, in anything, you need strong, effective leadership. You need people that want to roll up their sleeve, want to go in the room and get the job done. Like you said, it's not a popularity job to have. We got people that want to work, want to improve the quality of life. I think you say you had 3 kids, three young boys that you want to see grow up in this parish. And I know Shane, who running for parish president, she mentioned about she have a son and a daughter. She want to improve the quality of life. So it's going to take people that understand business, number one. And not only that, they got to understand how to do business. It's not just going around with showing up at council meeting with a 3-piece suit on, smiling and laughing and shaking hands and do a sound bite. It takes hard work. Take someone that willing to work to make this parish better. And I know with term limit, a lot of new councilmen, new people coming in. I'm excited to see you one of them that I pray that you would be in. And they're going to need many people like you to roll up their sleeves and get in there and work and understand the business at hand. And how do you foresee the future of Jefferson Parish in terms of attracting, like you said, new business to Jefferson Parish and people that want to live in Jefferson Parish? They don't want to go to St. Tammany. And I understand New Orleans, people moving in New Orleans, like crazy, man. Like, you walk in New Orleans street that I used to go down, 2nd and 3rd Street, it was almost, you didn't almost see no Caucasian neighborhood. Now they dominate those communities now. So they're doing something in New Orleans. The people are coming back. What is your view for the future of Jefferson Parish?
Well, you're correct in 2 things. First of all, a council member can't sit in the ivory tower with a suit on and not ever go out and touch the people. As you see, I don't like wearing suits. I'm a worker. I've always been a worker. You got to be out on the streets listening to people. I want to touch people, listen to their problems, and make their life better. But the bigger part is you have to create an environment in which people want to come, live, work, and do business. And that starts with us as a parish, making it easier for people to renovate their house, to get building permits to start a business, to get sign permits to advertise their business. Those are the kind of things where you have to become more user-friendly. That's where I want to work towards working with, especially with computers. We're talking about our young people. You should be able to go online and do 90% of your parish business without having to come to the building. And that's what businesses are looking for. Businesses don't want to be bothered with having to bring a stack of papers over to the parish building and go give each paper to 10 different people. The computer programs out there that exist today, we have a really good code enforcement department headed by Amy Vallow, and I'm sure she's working towards that goal. But I want to partner with her and make the funding available to code enforcement to do those kind of things, to be able to go online and get all those permits done, to invite businesses to come here.
When I first came to Jefferson Parish to run the centers, one of the things I found in the centers was that everybody had computers on their desk, but nobody was using them.
Nope.
Hey, Dr. William and Deano, we got to take a break. We're going to take another break. I think this might be our last break. But you are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth. We need to stand up and fight. Walk into the light. We're the people, we can do it if we try.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
Well, what's up, everybody? This boy, Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at Henry HeyOU15.
Listen, this your boy, Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with G Sports. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, AKG, and on Twitter, G_paid in full 08.
Pay me the money. money.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Kick it for me one time.
We are back. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. Dr. Reverend Anthony William and Charles Stewart, your host and our studio guest, candidate for Councilman District 2, great guy, Deano Bonano. And we're so happy to have him in the studio with us today. And for y'all that have been listening and watching, you can see that he do have a great vision. I think he have the energy and not the commitment to be a great council person. So saying that, tell us more about some I don't know how much time we got left. Tell us your vision that you have for District 2 and for Jefferson Parish. We want to make sure we get that in.
So for the people of District 2, first of all, you need to understand that I will always have an open door policy. So you have a problem, you need to call and make an appointment. Just show up. If I'm there, I'm going to meet with you if I got time. Or I will have my cell phone that you can call if you have a problem. I want to create a district in which people feel comfortable that their parish government is doing everything they can to make their lives better and move this parish forward, improve our infrastructure, improve our playgrounds, improve everything for you. So, and the only way to do that is to work together. I alone can't do anything, but we, working together, can do many, many great things. And that's always been my philosophy, and that's what I want to do, is I want to work with the church groups, the business groups, the citizens, to create a vision, not what my priorities are, but what you, the citizens, and the businesses and the churches of this parish, what are your priorities? That's where we need to be going. What do you want us to do in the next 4 years and the next 8 years? We need to do that on a parish-wide scale as well. We need to create a plan for this parish, a 4-year plan and an 8-year plan that says, hey, look, parish government, it's Instead of all this other nonsense we're wasting money on. We the citizens of this parish want you to focus on these issues to make our lives better, to move this parish forward.
How will you interface with the faith-based community?
I would like to have us have a group. My vision would be have a faith-based committee where you guys pick a representative to come meet with us once a month and say, listen, as a faith-based community in Jefferson Parish, here's our needs, and here's the needs of our people that we serve, you serve. As a faith, the people that you serve have problems, we want to be able to solve it. Oftentimes, I find that you, as a reverend, are going to be more knowledgeable about the needs of your community than I will be as a councilman or an elected official. Because you're touching those people who really have needs, who may not be able to reach out to us. They may be homebound.
Right.
They may be impoverished and can't get around. And they're going to reach out and touch you before they touch me. You can carry the message to me. You can tell us, look, these are the problems in the community you need to address with the seniors, with the homebound, with the impoverished. That's where I think the faith-based groups can really be a help to us. Deliver that message. What are the needs of the community? How can we help them?
As we look at what's happening with Avondale, trying to, not Avondale, I forget the name of the company that's trying to get.
I can't remember it all the time myself either.
But is that fastly becoming a dock?
But here's the problem we have right now. So whenever the river gets to a certain height, all construction on the river stops.
Right.
So while it should be already completed, those docks have not been renovated to be able to accept cargo containers because of the river's height. So as soon as the river gets down below the safe mark at the New Orleans gauge, at the Carrollton gauge, they will begin construction on renovating the docks from what was a shipbuilding dock to a cargo container dock. That's the holdup.
Okay.
So nothing's really happening right now until the river gets down to a safe level.
As it reference to Celotex and John Mandeville area over there, where all of those, where they used to build, make board for houses and stuff, and you're saying that area is contaminated in that area. Would that create jobs for individuals in the parish by having to have that area revitalized?
Well, eventually it would, yeah. Initially, you're gonna have, if you have to do cleanup, you're gonna have very specialized companies coming in here.
Right.
Most of them not local. But once you return a piece of property into commerce, it will create jobs. You're gonna have construction jobs, which are temporary jobs, and hopefully at some point a long-term job with a manufacturer or some other facility that's there long-term.
Now, one other thing, Reverend, we were talking about back there on 4th Street, it was in the news maybe a month and a half ago. Have a company that want to come in and open up another chemical plant, and I see that the community was at council meeting fighting. Was fighting that. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I'm aware of it, yes, sir.
And I don't know if you took a position on that, or if you want to, if that's something that you looking into. Have you took a position on this situation?
So as a firefighter who's certified in hazardous material operations, I'm very familiar with chemicals and how they react to the environment, how to respond to it. My position has been Jefferson Parish is the most highly urbanized parish in the state of Louisiana. We have more people living in a smaller space than anywhere else in the state of Louisiana. There's no room for a new chemical plant in Jefferson Parish. It's not a good use. We have to have smart development. Bringing a chemical plant and placing it, a new chemical plant, and placing it next to residents is not the right thing to do. We need to find a better use.
Okay, well, I'm not sure those people, I don't know, Reverend Meldino, he was leading the charge, a group of people that was highly against that. And I know many of his members live in that community. And I know they're going to be real happy to know that you was against that. And I just want to say that the knowledge that you have about Jefferson Parish, I think you're running for the wrong seat. I think you should be running for Councilman at large, because you have a full view of the whole parish. You need to be running for Councilman at large. Maybe 8 years now you'll be running for
You have to crawl. You have to crawl before you can walk. Remember that saying? You got to crawl before you can walk.
But you have a very good understanding of the whole parish. Very few guys come in with that type of qualification. Most people come in with training on the job. Most of them don't even know how to get to the courthouse.
No, you're right. You're right.
But you come in well qualified with fully a lot of wisdom and knowledge how the job works. And so
I don't have a
District 2 would be well represented if the voters see fit to give you that position. They would be well represented. I can say that with the knowledge that you have and the vision that you have for District 2.
I can say this much, that he's answered every question and he haven't danced around anything. You know, he put the issues on the table, the questions were asked, and he explained it very well. With that, you know, I think that he would be qualified for the position that he's running.
I thank you for your confidence in me. I appreciate it. My commitment to you and to everybody in District 2 is to work hard every day to do what's best for the parish as a whole, not for special interest groups.
And our senior citizen, I know you have a commitment for our senior citizens, fair housing. And I know that you love our senior citizens, so that's love that I have. Also, Dr. William have. We love our youth and we love our senior citizens.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes I get asked, well, Charles, what about the people in the middle? Well, in the middle, we pulling the right and the left end to the middle.
Yeah. Well, we have to give the people in the middle the tools that they need to succeed in life.
Right.
So that one day when we old, they can take care of us.
Yeah, you're right. But you would like to have a closing statement? We have to close it down.
Sure. I thank y'all for this opportunity to address you today on Church Without Walls. My commitment to you is, as I said earlier, I will work hard every day to do what's best for this parish using 31 years of knowledge and experience, not just in my paid job, but in my volunteer work as a firefighter, police officer, coach, all of those things. We need to move this parish forward, and it's going to take experience, proven leadership to do that. I want to caution you that I'm not the guy that's going to tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes we're going to have to agree to disagree, but we do it respectfully and cordially, and we continue to work together afterwards.
I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know y'all campaigning. We're beginning to see signs popping up everywhere. I thought
got a few of them out there.
Ain't a race, but you popping up everywhere. And I'm more than sure before the election, I think qualifying in
August 6th, 7th, and 8th.
August 6th, 7th, 8th, they'll be qualifying. And we be having you back on the show again.
I would look forward to that.
And we enjoy you, Dr. William, when we get a guest in here that don't duck the question and straight to the point. We love and having them to share with the viewing audience. Next time District 2 member, we'll let them know that they have someone willing to listen to them and you share their pain. Saying that to say this, Dr. William, you know how we in it.
There ain't no such thing as being half dead.
If you're dead, you're dead. See y'all next week. We love you. Thank you for listening and watching. See you next week.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.